Hello, good people, and welcome to the Coach's Corner with Sharia and
Sherry.
We are talking expectations related to singleness and marriage, and just gonna kind of freestyle it because we've been talking off camera about some different stuff, and we felt like, hey, why not turn the camera on? Go for it.
Invite you into the conversation.
So Sherry said something, and I was like, oh, well, we're going to talk about that, but how? I don't know. So you were saying that sexual purity and...
Yes, like the infatuation.
And how people are infatuated, how? So, like, let's talk about it, and then I'll see what my opinion is, because I had no idea what you meant.
So within the religious community, sexual purity is a really huge thing. And so sometimes I think that it really borders on a line of being unhealthy, where it shouldn't be like, okay, as long as, you remain a virgin until you're married, then okay, we can forget everything else, because obviously your spiritual life must be, or your spiritual health must be fine because of the fact that you're abstaining from sexual intimacy, which is not always the case. And so it's like this whole gauge of
so almost
how
like hierarchy of how spiritual you are based off of your purity sexually.
Right.
So almost like if you are a virgin until marriage, somehow that indicates that you're holier than someone who is not.
Right.
Okay, I get it. I was just making sure I didn't want to form an opinion not knowing what you meant, right? Because I feel like I get that, because it's almost as if that creates this like area of sin only unique to sexual sin.
Yes.
Where it's like that's the area that if you keep clean, everything else in your life is
must
holy,
be clean,
or
which
must
is
be
not
holy.
Right.
Forget anger, forget greed, forget gluttony, forget all of the unforgiveness, bitterness, forget all of those other things that you participate in. As long as you holy in this area,
it
puts you at the
is okay. Which is not, and again, we're talking about this within the context of spirituality and faith. So if you're not a religious person, that's okay. This may not make sense to you, but I just wanted to talk about it with this sense of really having more of a holistic view when it comes to your walk with your own spirituality. That it's not just one-sided. It's like whatever you believe in or whoever you believe in, is that you want to make sure that you're applying that to every aspect of your life. So again, just having discipline.
Or don't believe in, right?
Yeah, or don't believe in.
Right.
Having discipline in one area does not excuse not being disciplined in other areas. And so you want to be just as diligent about, how you view yourself, how you interact with others. And again, making sure that you're not boxing in this whole idea of what it means to be in a line with whatever spiritual, beliefs.
And so I would take it away from even spiritual and go into how we shame people based off of their sexual experience. So for me, just even separating it and taking it out of the spiritual package, really we shame people when they have sexual experience, and we end and somehow going back to even when we talk. I don't know if we didn't talk about it yet. When you think about like sexual assault and we start to blame the victim, when it comes down to it, it's almost that same purity that we think, well, if you didn't dress this way, this wouldn't have happened to you. Or if you didn't do this. So somehow connecting your sexual identity or your sexual activity, actually, right, with your virtue and how good you are or what you do in the world. And I kind of feel like even if you take it outside of the spiritual realm, it actually becomes a judgment onto how a person acts in that area, not who they are as a whole. And so it still comes back to that same thing where it's like, all right, so I could be a good person in all these other areas. However, if you see me doing that, all of a sudden it erases and negates what I've done good. Because you supposedly a slut or a hoe or whatever term you use, a thought, whatever, because I think that's dated, but whatever term you're using to actually describe people who are sexually active.
Yeah, and it's important too to make sure that one, it's not just so one-sided. So for instance, women tend to get a lot more shame as opposed to men, which is totally not okay.
And that's in both worlds.
Yes.
Right? Because, and when I say both worlds, I mean spiritually and outside of the spiritual package, right? In the spiritual package, women are shamed and viewed as, Jezebels. I'm just trying to think of a term that would be related to a certain
certain faith.
But then outside of it, it would be a slut and but a man is like, well, and oh, he was tempted by, so then the language even changes on how we even discuss it based off of gender. And then outside of it, it's like, well, a man got to be a man or a boy got to be a boy, where it's like, okay, so they can get away with the same thing just because they have
because they're a guy. Okay. But they need a woman to engage
to participate in it,
in order for it. So like that's the part where I think it's just really important just to make sure it's not one-sided and that you're holistic when it comes to your spirituality and how to be disciplined in every area of your life. And then it's like if you're not a spiritual person, just making sure again that you're not judging people unfairly just because of their gender or because of their preferences or because of whatever activities that they choose to engage in. And I think the other thing that's really important out
of you.
Yeah, that's definitely something for them to really deal with on their own unless they invite you in as an accountability partner. The one thing last thing I probably want to say before we close out is that whatever your choice is that you make is to make sure that you are being safe. Yeah. And that includes mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Being safe with whatever sexual activities that you choose to engage in and whoever you choose to do that with. Just make sure, again, that you are making sure that you are not endangering yourself or setting yourself up to be harmed or the people around you. And make sure to get consent. Make sure that it's mutual. With whatever that you engage in, and just make sure again that you are keeping yourself safe. And that does not just mean wearing a condom when it comes to, again, physically. It also means mentally, emotionally, that you are engaging in behaviors that is not going to endanger yourself or those that you're engaging with.
Agreed. I am not gonna say anything more because it has been said. You guys, thanks for joining us. You can check us out at sherrywary.com and shariafarmer.org. Again, she has an awesome course out right now called Walking Through the Pain, 21 different steps or practical wellness, emotional wellness steps. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Trying to do a plug and can't get it out. Wellness steps that will help you to evolve and to grow. And I hope you guys check it out. All right. Be well.
Bye.